Well, hello again, everybody. It's Takedown, Scott Casper. We are joined today by the guy who's in his eighth year as the head coach of Limestone, Newberry, South Carolina. It's Trent Goodale. Trent, how are you?
Not doing too bad.
You guys ended the Super Region 2 duels with a big time blowout at Tiffin, the score 43 to 6. Nice way to end that. What was the attitude of the team when it was all over?
I think it was an attitude of we're sick of getting our butts kicked for the day because we started off the day with three losses.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely needed something like that to turn around and be able to go home and have our head where it was supposed to be and be able to go back to the grindstone after that was all done.
And it was Shippensburg, Findlay, and Indianapolis that handed you some of those tight losses, and they were tight. I think that's important to note. It shows, the progress that you and your squad have made. Let's talk a bit about that progress because you start from ground zero, if you will, to where you are and where you want to go. Talk about your squad.
This year's been an interesting year because if you look at our results, pretty much almost every single time we're taking the mat with a little bit different roster than the one that we were taking before. And the biggest reason for that is just the depth that kind of we have on the team now that we're going back and forth a little bit with who the starter is, who the starter isn't. And this year in particular, we're redshirting some of our big guns. We're redshirting Ross Benzel, who was a national qualifier last year at 133. A big gun. Devin Jackson from Indiana was a Indiana state champ, Super 32 finalist. And then a JUCO transfer, Caleb Rivera from North Idaho, are all in the room, but haven't been putting the singlets on for us. They all need that year to really redshirt and get their academics and everything where they need to be on par to graduate without having to pay a whole bunch of money in the process because they only get to receive that athletic aid while they're here. So they kind of did their time helping the program out, coming out of redshirt maybe before they were ready, and now the program's giving it back to them a little bit. So it's been working out really well.
Is that a hard decision for coaches? I got to believe that that's a discussion that you have, a sit down meeting, and whether or not the team needs it, whether or not they want to come out. What is that discussion like between you and your staff and athletes?
I probably do it a little bit different than a lot of places just because my biggest thing is I want the student athlete to be happy with his career when he's done. Ultimately it's his wrestling career, and I don't want anybody ever to look back and say, I wish I would have done this. I wish coach wouldn't have made me do this, or if only I would have had say in this. So a lot of weight class and whether or not they redshirt, when and if, is up to them. So that they're long drawn out discussions with them and their parents, especially if they're coming out that freshman year. If they're not going to redshirt that freshman year, it's got to be well thought out. And I talked to a lot of them beforehand and let them know, listen, you're probably going to get your butt kicked a couple of times, and you're going to have to be able to be okay with that. And in the starting lineup, still competing each week, because you have to be able to put the blinders on and forget about that, just like a Major League Baseball player forgetting the last home run pitch. If you can't do that, then you need that year to really mature and get into it.
Oh, so it's a psychological adjustment. I love the fact that you include the parents in the discussion. It's a big it's a big one, and you'll never be able to get that year back if, in fact, you waste it one way or the other. So, let's talk a bit about the Tiffin contest. I want to go back. Your team, your blue and gold, got off to a really great start. I think the first four bouts, three of which came by pin. The first two pins came at 125 and 33, where you started. It was Alexander Battaglia. Talk a little bit about this young man, sophomore for sure, but I
Yeah,
thought he showed some great
actually
promise.
he's a redshirt freshman for us this year. In his second year, he had a rough day at Newberry Duels, mainly because he had to wrestle the number one ranked kid in the country from Indianapolis, and then a 4-year starter for Findlay, Sargent, who's been in the national semis. He's been right there, a couple time All American, and he kind of got thrown into that right away. He's one of those kids where I didn't tell him exactly what was coming his way that day. It's better off if he goes into fire without knowing sometimes. And after realizing who the first kid he was or was that he wrestled with Finlay, and thinking that he could probably beat him, then he went out with the Indianapolis kids, Alex Johns, and unfortunately we got called for an illegal slam. We were up 2-0 with the takedown. We got called for an illegal slam, bringing him back to the mat, and he didn't continue the match, so we lost that one. So he went into that final match today with a little bit of fire. Really wanted to end the day on a win because he was not happy with the way it went before that.
I think he ended it right as the first period buzzer sounded. How about Majano, Henry?
He's been a kid that's been up and down. 33 has been a weight class for us this year that we really didn't know who the starter was going to be, kind of going back and forth between him and Yates, and Benzel was the front runner from last year, and he's redshirting, so there's a lot of competition back and forth there, and those three were kind of ending up different placings, all the opens that we went to and stuff. But Henry Mahano is capable of a lot. His biggest thing is whether or not he can have his weight managed exactly right, and if he's feeling good going into the match, plays a huge role whether or not he's going to actually compete the way Henry Mahano can, or if he's going to go out there and try to get through a match. And that's what we've been trying to take care of as the year's been going on.
Trent Goodale joins us, head coach Limestone, and in South Carolina, he's in his 8th year, 6 years as a head coach. Third pin for you came from your junior, Mel Laverne, out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. How he got all the way over to South Carolina is beyond me, but this kid can wrestle.
Yeah, he had a good match too, and that one's he hasn't had much starting time this year. He's been nursing a knee injury. We've actually had true freshman Nick Lighton from Fort Mill, South Carolina, getting the starting nod at 149 almost all year, and he actually is still the starter right now. Mel got put in there because Nick was having some issues with some ribs and things like that. So with 4 matches that are that tough in a day, it was nice to give Mel one too, to see if he can try to get stuff ready and going. And he came out and really competed well. He went out there and attacked some positions that we've been working on and took advantage of it.
Coach, I got to ask you about Justin Tribble. I know time is not on our side this afternoon with your schedule, our schedule here, but sophomore Justin Tribble, he went 4-0 in a perfect day at 97. I like what I see in this kid. Great head on his shoulders, and what's more, he's got great shoulders.
Oh yeah, Justin was a great addition. He was one that I was really having to battle a lot of Division I schools to have the opportunity to have on roster here, and getting the red shirt that first year behind Dan Scanlon, who was a national finalist for us that year and a national champ before that, was perfect for him. He came in last year and was the starter then and qualified for nationals. Actually, last year we had two freshmen qualify for nationals. The first time we ever had freshmen qualify, so that was a big thing, especially for us to have two. But now Justin's not a freshman anymore, so there's a little bit more pressure put on his shoulders, and he's been to the national tournament. He's been in big tournaments, so he struggled early on at the beginning of the year, and I think a lot of it was just having trouble getting the excitement going, having trouble getting his emotion and adrenaline in every single one of the matches, because he was already looking forward in the bracket. And I think that he's gotten his butt chewed enough, and he's had my big toe up his butt enough this year that's not going to happen anymore. But he really competed well at the region duels. He finally he put a full day together of what I wanted to see out of Justin Tribble, and it's nice to start seeing that this time of year as we're heading into tournaments. That's exactly what you want to start seeing.
Newberry opens up next for you guys Saturday, February 8th. It's going to be a long day for sure. It starts about 9 a.m. in the morning. Expectations for the team? It's one of those kind of final get ready tournaments. There's a couple weight classes that are undecided for us still as to who the for sure starters are going to be, who's going to get the nod come regional tournament. So that's gonna play a part in a couple weight classes. There'll probably be a couple weight classes where we rest the starter. Don't take them, get them ready for the duel on Thursday against Pembroke, and then continue to make sure that we're healthy going into the regional tournament. But it's usually a pretty tough tournament. Anytime you head into Newberry, South Carolina, you better be ready to wrestle, and you throw in some Division I teams there. Like Chattanooga should probably have some guys there. Virginia should have some guys there. It'll be a good day of wrestling. All right, and your regional tournament's going to be in Tiffin, Ohio, and then it's off to Cleveland, Ohio, as well, Coach. It seems to me to be a whole lot of Ohio in the picture here for you guys as we head to March.
That's right.
That's a lot of. Yeah, it's not that far. What's the travel conditions like for you guys when it comes to heading to Ohio?
About 9 to 10 hours, right around in there. Usually we almost always have to make at least one trip, whether it's to Ashland or Lake Erie or somewhere around in there. We're always headed up that way. And
of course, don't want to overlook UNC Pembroke. They constantly are improving, and I can remember when that program, we visited that program. I think I can't remember the coach's name, but he was also the athletic director and the swim coach.
Yeah, he kind of built it from the ground up, and they've been coming along. Coach O.T. Johnson's been doing a really good job there, and they've had some national finalists. They've had a couple All-Americans. I'm really looking forward to to the battle at 141 this coming week. I think I got a fresh or a sophomore in the lineup that can give it to OMB again, or at least give them a challenge again. They've had a couple of pretty exciting matches already this year, so that's one that I'm really looking forward to.
Coach, tell us what kind of support you're getting there. It seems like you're getting all you need and then some.
The school here is great. The Limestone Athletic Department really supports all of its athletic programs. We just got done with a little over a $12 million capital campaign where we've been raising money to try to update a bunch of the fields as far as the lacrosse field, baseball fields. We just added a football program this last year. This was their redshirt year, so they didn't have any games, but we had a full football team on campus. And it's really grown. We're the largest athletics program in Division II. And we only have right around 1,000 students, a little bit less than 1,000 this year, I think, where we had 625 when I started 8 years ago. So the school is growing, the athletic department's getting more support. I'm got a budget where we can travel and go where we need to, and a lot of it comes with the numbers. It's a tuition-driven school, but I really wouldn't want it any other way.
We're seeing a lot of programs added, both men's and women's. Point in fact, it's a great that's a great sport to drive tuition, to drive a number of athletes to a university, and I love the fact that women's wrestling is growing as quickly as it is. It gives not just some hope, but, I think it's a great view of the future, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I like it. Obviously, I have a soft spot in my heart for women's wrestling because my significant other, Sarah McMahon. And all the time that I spent with her and the women's team and traveling with them and stuff, and even now that just the connection that we have with the women's wrestling community, and now that she's fighting it, it's even more so.
She's going to be taking on Ronda Rousey in a battle that they said would never happen, a battle of women, of course, in the UFC as they continue to build. What's her training been like?
It's been real good. She's gotten to go up to New York a little bit, train at Marcelo Garcia's. She trains mostly down here with Revolution MMA, and she does a lot of training in the Limestone Wrestling Room, with us as far as that goes. She gets most of her jiu-jitsu from Coach Jimmy Fowler, and most of her stand-up from Coach Cody Freeland, who are, not huge name guys, but they're really good at what they do in the area, and we help each other out a lot. She actually just walked in. She's sitting right here.
Sarah's sitting right there.
Yeah.
Well, tell her we said hello. We missed talking to her, and I know it's been a busy. When is her fight?
February 22nd.
Well, that's coming up right around the corner. That's coming up. We wish her the best, Shirley. It's going to be a battle for sure. I don't know if anybody can absolutely shut Ronda Rousey's mouth, but if anybody can, perhaps it would be Sarah.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah? I'm tired of hearing her talk. Trent, it's always good to talk to you, my brother. God bless you. Best to everybody at Limestone, and we do appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott.
You bet. For all of us at Takedown, he's Trent Goodale. I'm Scott Casper, and thanks for watching.